Donald Trump just had a disastrous press conference in the Oval Office. He didn't seem to even realize that the United States just lifted all oil sanctions and petrochemical sanctions against Iran, and the United States is unfreezing around $12 billion in addition to removing those oil and petrochemical sanctions against Iran. Then Donald Trump said, yeah, but Iran's going to buy all of this produce from our farmers, so it's going to work out in the end. And then Donald Trump claimed that the reflecting pool built up all of this algae because vandals were throwing fertilizer in it, and the fertilizer contained algae. This was a really deranged Oval Office presser, and it follows Iran's lead negotiator, MB Ghalibaf, describing what went down in these negotiations. And the way Ghalibaf says what happened, he said that Donald Trump started posting those attacks against the Iran negotiators yesterday morning. Iran then left the negotiations, that J.D. Vance and the United States negotiating team begged for Iran to come back. Iran said, we're not going to come back, and they spoke with the Qatari and Pakistani negotiators, and then over an 80-minute period extracted all of these concessions that we're now seeing that the United States give Iran today, including the lifting of the oil and petrochemical sanctions and the unfreezing of $12 billion. Ghalibaf is now in Muscat, Oman, to talk about how Iran and Oman are controlling the Strait of Hormuz and the tolls that they will be charging. That's what he talked about while he just gave an interview. Ghalibaf also talked about the unfreezing of $12 billion. The first $6 billion was unfrozen. Ghalibaf talks about how the agreements that were reached in the past 24 hours further advanced the MOU interests of Iran. And of course, you have this U.S. Treasury Department issuing the general license, waiving the key Iranian oil sanctions until August 21st. So Donald Trump was asked about this, and Donald Trump's response was that he seemed to not even know that these oil sanctions against Iran were lifted. And he said, I'm going to have to find out exactly what we did. Here's what Trump said. Let's play it.
On Iranian oil today, sir? Treasury lifted sanctions on Iranian oil today,
well,
sir?
I'm going to have to find out exactly the status. But if the sanctions go out, money's going to be put into this country. All that money's coming back in the form of purchases of food, which they desperately need. They have 91 million people. They can't feed them.
Then Donald Trump said, well, Iran has 91 million people that can't be fed. So they're going to be using all of this money to buy American farm produce. Okay, I mean, are the farmers going to be, you're just defrauding them one more time? Here, play this clip.
In the form of purchases of food, which they desperately need. They have 91 million people. They can't feed them. So the money that we lift is going to go to our farmers, largely to our farmers.
Can you ensure that the Iranians won't use profits from...
Then Donald Trump says, but let me be clear, nobody wants to become the president of Iran. What are you even talking about? Let's play this clip.
God. The third level of leaders, you have to hear the conversations. Who wants to be president? Well, I don't want it. Nobody wants to be president. And then we have to read that.
And then Donald Trump says, but as long as Iran respects us, and I'm not saying fear, that would be inappropriate. If they respect us, then we will get along well. Here's what he says. Play this clip.
Those mechanisms are, and are you in direct talks with the Supreme Leader?
Yeah, look, here's the thing. As long as they respect us, I don't want to use the word fear because that's an inappropriate word, but as long as they respect us, we're not going to have any trouble. We have total control of the strait.
So the mechanism is...
You know, we have a Navy that had a blockade.
Then a reporter says, you know, Netanyahu says he's not leaving Lebanon, so how are you going to deal with that? And Donald Trump's like, I'm a problem solver. I'll fix it all. Here's what he says. Let's play it.
Earlier today, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said his forces are not leaving Lebanon. That is a sticking point in these conversations. He said it publicly in Israel today.
Well, we're going to take a look at it.
Well, what would you do to make sure that he doesn't
Well, I'm not going
sabotage
to
the
tell you
deal?
what I'm going to do, but it gets solved. I'm a problem solver. I get problem solved real fast, including with Bibi. Go ahead.
Then he goes on to talk about the reflecting pool, and he said that the reason that there was all this algae is because the vandals and Antifa put fertilizer in the water, and that creates algae. I mean, truly, if you believe this, you are so deep in the... I mean, what are you talking about? They threw fertilizer and that creates algae? No. It's where the water comes from. Here, play this clip.
Down. They've all been fixed. We also fixed the reflecting pool. In fact, if you go over there right now, it looks very good. It's up. Somebody said fertilizer in the water. If you put fertilizer in the water, you get algae. But somebody said they might have put fertilizer. They did something to create the algae, but that doesn't matter because that's been purified. It's dead. Laying at the bottom, they're taking it out. They vacuum it out. They vacuum it very carefully out. And it'll be back to health pretty soon. We're going to have to let the water out to fix there's two little areas, very little areas where they were cut. And we'll fix that, but it's not leaking or anything. It's got a base underneath.
And then Donald Trump wanted people in the room. I guess this presser was about quantum, and Donald Trump had no clue what they were talking about. But he said, "Did you know my uncle?" Because he always says, like, my uncle was a professor at MIT. This is what he always says. Here, play this clip.
And 2 days ago, we set a record, most ever taken out of the Straits. Pent up, but it's a record. Did you know of my uncle at all?
No.
You didn't?
No.
I don't. You missed a good bit.
Would you like to Berkeley and MIT?
Well, but MIT's
And then Donald Trump, for some reason, attacks AOC and says AOC doesn't even know where Switzerland is or what was going on in Switzerland. What are you even saying here? Let's play this clip.
But when I watch AOC, have no idea on a simple question, what happened when she was over in Switzerland, which she probably never went there before, but she was. And then I watch somebody like JD or Marco. I said, what a difference. What a difference. What a difference a brain makes.
Mr. President, the candidate is endorsing.
And then Donald Trump's like, have you heard of Sleepy Joe? Have you heard of Sleepy Joe? Play this clip.
You ever hear of Sleepy Joe Biden? Do you ever hear of him?
And then Donald Trump proceeds to fall asleep. I'll play you this clip.
Investing for more than a decade in quantum. And
a reporter says, but aren't the contractors who did this work to blame? Like, didn't they make all of these representations? And Trump goes, nope, it was the vandals. It was Antifa. They took a knife and they did a 300-foot slit right through it with a box cutter. That's what went down. Okay, play this clip.
He'll be a great president.
Mr.
Are the contractors who did the initial work with the reflecting pool, are they to blame for the current condition, or is it
No,
the vandals?
we had vandalism. No, vandals. You know, we have I think 290, 300-foot slit right through it, probably a box cutter or a knife of some kind. Or we had people lifting up the basic, it's not a lot of damage, but we'll probably have to let the water out and refix it. They went in there with a knife. I was just told by the people over at Parks, they have 5 people are arrested and 5 people are under investigation right now. And it's a sad thing.
Reporters then said, are you going to show photos? And he's like, I'll show it to you in court. I'll show it to you in court. Then you had Chris Wright, the energy secretary, start to talk. And Donald Trump was like, no one cares what you're saying. Just shut up. Let's play this clip right here.
Good job. All of you have, actually. Chris Wright, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. So 141 years ago, Albert Einstein, 121 years ago, Albert Einstein published a paper.
Nobody cares.
Good point.
I never go back. And usually they won't catch you. But go
Published
ahead.
a paper on the photoelectric effect.
Then a reporter asks Donald Trump, you pretty much said that we did this deal with Iran because we were about to go into a global economic depression. So are you worried about that? What's going on there? And Donald Trump's like, that's such a stupid question that you're asking. Nuclear's worse than depression. That's all, but I don't want to be Herbert Hoover. Here's what he says. Let's play this clip.
By the
Well,
memorandum of
nuclear
understanding.
weapon supersedes depression. Depression's real bad. Nuclear weapon will cause depression much more quickly. The way we're doing it, we have the opposite of a depression. We're doing really well. The numbers are incredible. The oil is at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Oil prices are way down. I think they're very comparable to what they were. Chris, I don't know, pretty comparable to what they were before we started.
They've returned most of the way back down.
Yeah.
And, so if Iran does not abide by the MOU, are you still willing
What I
for
didn't
strikes?
say
And
it
does
would
give you
cause
leverage?
a depression. I said it could cause a depression. right? And they said that I don't want to be Herbert Hoover. That's a president I don't want to be, because he was in charge during the Great Depression. And certainly a lot of bad things could happen. That would be one of the things. I don't think it would, but if it did. But no, if Iran doesn't live up to their agreement, or if they're not behaving, I will do what I have to do.
Does that give them leverage over you, Mr. President?
Say it?
Does that give them leverage, the Iranians leverage over you?
Oh, you're so leverage. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Their leader.
And then Donald Trump starts to attack Italy. I'll show you this.
There. And you know what? The people of the UK did not like it that he wasn't there. Starmer said no. Starmer said worse than no. He said, we'll be there as soon as you win. I said, we don't need you as soon as we win. Before I went in, we called him. He said, oh, wow, we'll be there. This was not Winston Churchill with you, that I can tell you. But Starmer said, we'll be there, right, Pete? As soon as we win. As soon as we win, they're going to come and help us. Okay. But you know what? Italy was very bad. Italy was very bad, and other countries, Germany was very bad. So we spent all of this money.
Donald Trump then starts to attack NATO. I'll show you this clip right here.
600 billion a year, right? I would say that. I think the real number, think of that. The numbers that we spend are so crazy on NATO, and they weren't there for us. So I say to Pete, and I say to everybody else, if we're spending all of this money, hundreds of millions of dollars to protect them from Russia, mostly. Okay, so we're spending hundreds of millions of dollars a year. The case could be made that we spent all of the money over the years before me. I cut it back. But listen, we spend all of this money, and then when we want to maybe have help on small stuff, this is small time. This is not the big one. This is small potatoes. They say no, would rather not help. Stupid thing to say, because we can say that to them if we want, and we might.
And then Donald Trump goes back again to talk about how it was the Vandals, and the Vandals did everything. And he's got proof, but I'll show you in court. Here's what he says.
So they were going to spend $400 million. I spent 10. They were going to spend 4 years. I spent 2 months, maybe less. And I have a better product. Now, I can't help it if somebody goes in with a knife and starts hacking it up. And we also have pictures of it. We have
Can you
pictures.
release the photos? We've been
Yeah, at the
asking
right
for
time
that.
you'll see it. You'll see it in court. You'll see it in court. But all you have to do is call the Parks Department. Call the Department of Interior, and I don't know if their lawyers will allow you to speak to them, because you write fake news. But call the Interior Department, and I understand they've arrested 5 people, and they have another 5 people that are under investigation. Here's the bottom.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers, and thank you everybody for watching. Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.